Welcome to another episode of Gotta Go Fast. Today, we'll be looking at Super Castlevania 4, released in 1991 on the Super Nintendo, and available now via the Castlevania Anniversary Collection on PC, Xbox, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. Super Castlevania 4 was released very early in the life cycle of the Super Nintendo, but it's still fondly remembered as one of the best games on the system for its visuals and audio. The gameplay has always been regarded as one of the easier entries in the series, but it also is one of the smoothest experiences. Full control of your whip and jump movement took away some of the challenges of original and later Castlevania games, but every mistake that occurred when you played was entirely a result of you and nothing else. Being a remake of the original Castlevania, there's both a lot of similarities and differences for the bosses and stages. As for the story, well, rather than try to give it myself, I'm just going to let this beautifully haunting opening do the job for me, because it's just too good not to. Speedrunning any Castlevania game is all about knowing map and item layouts. We want to have as good of a memorization of where things are positioned to have our whip ready for both enemies and candles. We particularly need to be careful of any pits, death traps, and worst thing of all, crappy sub-weapons. Some of the stages in the game are very easy to get through, while a few of them have just the right level of frustration with instant death spots. So we need to find the right balance of going fast and taking our time to ensure we don't lose time along the way due to silly deaths. We also want to avoid dying so we don't lose all of our upgrades along the way. As far as loadouts go, we want to ideally hold on to the boomerang, or cross depending on what you call it, as much as possible. The ability to let it go and continue movement and attacking at the same time is just too powerful not to. Also, it just gets silly the amount of damage you can do with it when you're fully maxed out. Runtime wise, we're looking at 23 minutes for the pre-castle stages, 32 minutes for the main castle stages, 10 minutes for the triple boss rush, and 5 minutes to take down Dracula himself. This comes to a total of 1 hour and 10 minutes. This is really high compared to the world record times of 35 minutes, but I'm hoping to bring this down to at least below 1 hour. That said, even getting to the 40-minute range is extremely tough, as it requires an immense memorization of the game, almost to a robotic level. Alright, let's whip it good. It's time to go fast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Gotta Go Fast. I'm your host, Savior X Tanrin, and today we're going to be playing through Super Castlevania 4, released on the original Super Nintendo, but now available via the Castlevania Collection. Whole chance to play a whole bunch of Castlevania games all together, which is really awesome, because I love me some Castlevania games. But yeah, Super Castlevania 4, originally released Super Nintendo pretty early in the life cycle, to my knowledge, I remember. So yeah, 91, like that was the release year of... I believe 91 was the release year of the Super Nintendo? I think. Granted, at this point, I was 3 years old in 91, so not very old, don't really remember too much, but I do remember playing this game a crap ton as a kid, because we had it on our Super Nintendo. But Super Castlevania 4. Great game overall, love it, it's just a good time, there's no complaints there. It's not exactly hard, when you compare it to other Castlevania games, like Castlevania 3, Rondo of Blood, Castlevania 1, Bloodlines, Dracula X. It is probably the easiest Castlevania game of all the games, to be really honest. But that said, it's got great music, it's just a fun game to play, it's difficult enough without being annoyingly difficult, like challenging. It's just, you can't not have a good time when you play this game. It's just fun. And then what more do you want, right? So, what do we look like timeline-wise? Well, time is going to start when we gain control of Simon Belmont. So that's at the beginning of stage 1. When he starts to move to the left, it's going to give up control, and that's when we basically press the button to move right. That's when we start the game, start the time. Time end is going to be once we beaten Dracula, the orb that dropped for him. When we grab that, that's going to be time end overall. So we're estimating about 1 hour and 10 minutes, which I think we could do better than that. I'm feeling confident. I think we can get below 1 hour. That's my challenge to myself. Like, this is a time I can feel confident with, but I'm going to push myself. We're going to try to get sub 1 hour. I think we can do it. Do you think we can do it? I hope you think we can do it, because I'd like you to think that we think we can do it too. But let's see if we can pull it off. You ready? Time starts in 3, 2, 1, go. So, what do we need to concern ourselves with, like, mechanic-wise? Well, honestly, it's the same stuff that we do with pretty much any of our speedruns. Know the map layout, know where enemy placement's going to be effective in dealing with them, etc. Item layout particularly is kind of useful in this game as a recovery mechanism if you're doing like practicing. What I mean by that is like knowing, for example, what candles have hearts in them, what candles have sub-weapons in them, what candles have the Roman numerals 2 and 3 in them. Those are really useful things to know ahead of time if you can memorize those particularly, because if, for example, if you have a bad run and you accidentally die someplace and you need to recover to get, re-get your cross or re-get your other things, it's a helpful thing to know just in case. I don't have them 100% memorized, but I know of a couple common spots particularly where stuff is, just in case. I hate that guy so much. You wouldn't believe how annoying he is just to deal with, because you don't want to get smacked accidentally to lose some health, so you want to take him out. But he's just a frustrating guy to take out, realistically speaking. But there's our first Roman numeral there that we're going to try to keep. So we want to get, I said first, pretend that we get Roman numeral 2. So for those that don't understand how that works mechanically, so if you never played a Castlevania game before, your whip is your main weapon, and you have sub-weapons you can use. So we have the cross, which is going to be our main bread and butter that we're going to use, but you also have stuff like the knife, the axe, you have holy water, and the stopwatch. I believe that's all of them, all 5 of them. So all those sub-weapons allow you to do different stuff in addition to your whip. The cross is just beastly. I highly recommend it. If you get it, keep it. Try out the other sub-weapons so you can get a feel for them too, but like, the cross is just too good. And you'll see some examples of just how stupidly good the cross is as we're going through for defeating bosses, taking out enemies from afar. Just a great utility weapon in addition to your whip. But yeah, so where did the Roman numerals come in? So the Roman numerals represent how many of that item you're allowed to use at a time. So normally you can only use one of the weapons at a time. So I can only throw 1 cross at a time. However, when I have the Roman numeral 2, I can throw 2 crosses at a time, which is very nice. When I have the Roman numeral 3, I can do 3 crosses at the same time. So you can do some really great damage on enemies, like just by pumping out those crosses or holy water or other stuff like that, which is really good to help maximize damage as you're going along. So highly recommend picking those up. But the unfortunate part is when you die, you lose all your hearts, you lose your sub-weapon, and you lose your Roman numerals. So trying to keep those is a very, very important thing if you can ensure it as much as possible. Now, obviously, nobody has control over when they die, but, if you can avoid it, try not to die. Anyways, but yeah, so that's something to consider. I feel like there it is. Yeah, I was like, I knew there was a Roman numeral coming up. So there's Roman numeral number 3. So that's going to allow us to use 3 crosses now, which is just fantastic. Great thing to have. Definitely hold on to it while you can, and try not to die while you have it. But if you die, you can always recover the stuff you need. Crosses are not... They're common enough to find. You just need to know where they are and prepare yourself for them, basically. So... Ideally, try not to die to lose the cross at all, but if you die, you can always get it back if you need to. So you'll notice I clock time when I beat the boss and grab that orb there. So that's what we're going to be using for segments-wise for a lot of this stuff. So every time the orb drops and we grab it, that's going to be our call to time segment, if you will, for that stage. It's not the case for every stage, but most of the stages work that way, at least. So... For example, Stage 2 is a prime example. Stage 2 has a mid-boss. It doesn't have a final boss. God damn, so when we beat... So this stage is going to end simply when we basically cross the finish line for the stage. Whereas, like, Stage 6, for example, doesn't have any bosses. So that's just going to be literally the second we cross that stage line, we just go to the next one. That one's only like 2.5 minutes long, so that's a super short stage. But those times should be fairly consistent as we move along, at least to make sure of where we are progress-wise, as we're progressing at least. Be careful too, particularly as we're going along. Make sure to know where, like if you can memorize at least, not every location, but if you can memorize some key whip areas of like, hey, this thing is going to give me a, sorry, had to pause that for a second, because look how quickly those boomerangs wrecked Medusa. It's great. I love it. But yeah, boomerangs are great. Anyways, like I was saying, key moments, key areas to memorize, like for example, if you can remember that certain candles give you weapons, particularly if you have the boomerang, like you want to avoid giving up the boomerang. That would be a very bad thing to happen. If you had a triple boomerang set up but you accidentally picked up the dagger, it would be kind of a sad day. So, you don't have to memorize everything at least, but try to memorize as many things as you can. That'll help you a lot in recovery as well as just keeping your flow as much as possible. Here-wise, we're going to try to get as many hearts as we can here, just because going into the next stage, because we get to carry over all our hearts into the next stage, so that's a nice thing to have. without having to worry about picking up any hearts along the way, assuming we don't die or anything silly like that in the process. And here we are. Stage end is going to be basically when we cross this border. Boop. Alright, so that's stage 2. Kind of a weird stage, but that's just how it's set up. Alright, stage 3. This first segment, not too bad. There's going to be some spikes here and there. You have some enemies to deal with, but honestly, it's not too bad of a segment as long as you just, you know, keep your whip going forward. If you see an enemy, take it out. And avoid, you know, getting hit by some stuff along the way. Just very basic things for playing a game. Don't take damage. But anyways, yeah, not too bad of a stage. There's some recovery stuff I'm not going to go for because I don't need anything right now. But as a little hint, if you go to the left here after this guy, there's going to be some walls you can break. In there you'll find a bunch of hearts, a chicken, and a boomerang. In case you need it if you lost it like from the last stage or something like that. So, mental note if you want to do that for like a recovery sort of scenario to get back up. There's a little bit of slowdown with some of these enemies, so try to see if you can avoid killing them unless you need to. I'm trying to maintain health going into here as much as possible just to be safe. But honestly, more often than not, I'll get killed not by loss of health, it'll be by other stuff like pits. That's honestly, spikes and pits are what's going to kill this run more than anything else, not like dying due to loss of health. Okay, so this is the first segment of this area where stuff gets a little frustrating. So take your time, particularly it's a vertical upward stage, so you want to avoid, you know, taking any unnecessary damage or knockback here and there or accidentally missing a jump if you can avoid it. So, particularly... Okay, that was very lucky. I will take that, though. That's a very lucky damage. That's something you don't do. Wait for the little balls to move back around so you're in a good state, so you don't have to worry about accidentally tripping into them or getting knocked back like that. I got very lucky that that worked out to my benefit. Like here, I could have made that jump maybe and ran across, but I'd rather just take my time, plus get the extra 5 hearts. Couple of these jumps are going to feel very, very tight, and unfortunately they are. Like, you're going to have some segments where you're like, I feel like I can barely make this jump. And yes, that is true. Like here, you'll barely make that jump. But you will make it. You just gotta, you know. Oops. Okay, that could have been bad. You will make it. You just need to take your time, ultimately. Here, for example, I'm taking my time to move across. There will be a turkey leg coming up in the next segment. So don't fret too much if you're low on health here. Get some extra hearts if you need it. But you will get a turkey leg right here. Actually, no, not right there. Sorry. Here. And do not hit that candle right there. That is a dagger. And that's going to give you bad times. So do not hit that one. But everything else in here, for the most part, in this area is okay. Supposedly, one of those might give you a triple, I believe, if you need it. But I can't recall 100%. But just make sure don't hit the dagger one, at least. Here, not too bad. Just take care of this guy. Use that to take out some enemies. Take your time here on these, because this is a little bit of a tight area. You don't want to accidentally get knocked, you know, and bounce off something just to be safe. Here, nothing too much to worry about, vertically speaking. Just another, take your time. That guy directly above us, we don't need to worry about. No! Ooh, that one hurt. That one hurt a little bit, chat. That's okay, we can recover. We're not going to have a boomerang, unfortunately, but we will make the best of it. We will instead get the axe. It's not the best, but we'll, and now I'm just getting a little sloppy. It's not the best thing in the world, but we will make it work for us. We will get a boomerang soon. But not in this stage, at least. So here, you can kind of be fine. Just walk your way up the steps, make sure to take care of these birds. You won't get knocked back while you're standing, at least, but you will take damage and a little bit of a faster cadence, so we want to try to avoid that, obviously. We're not going to have a lot of hearts going here to use the axe, but whatever, we'll make it work. Recovery, chat. This is the prime example of recoveries. We should still be able to get sub-time, though. So we want to try to use this axe to kind of get a little projectile hit when like the arc gets just right, and then kind of whip him from afar. This is a like, if we had the boomerang, we'd be doing much more destructive damage. We'd be like just wailing out a crap ton of boomerangs. But, you know, we'll make the best of what we can in there. So not the best amount of time shrinkage there since we died that one time, but we recovered well enough. Alright, Stage 4. Stage 4, we'll get some good stuff in here. Unfortunately, the downside is we're going to basically get... Come on, we're essentially going to get a 2, at least. We're going to get a 2 Roman numeral right up here, but we're going to get on an axe. And we don't really want it on an axe, unfortunately. So we'll make the best of it. And just keep moving forward. There's no boomerangs over there to my knowledge, so just push forward here. You can kind of get a little speed boost. There will be a boomerang coming up, I believe. Careful this jump. You can sometimes... It's a silly jump, but sometimes you can just die doing it. You feel really bad if you do. There should be a boomerang somewhere soon in this stage, if I remember correctly. There is one. So make sure to duck here when you come across. So you don't want to get stabbed accidentally and get knocked off, because it'll be a bad time. Normally we'd have the boomerang here and we'd wreck this guy really fast, but we'll make do with the best we got right here. Which is still pretty good time-wise, but, you know, yeah, not the best we would want. But yeah, so we're not going to get one for a while. We're not going to get the boomerang for a while, so we're just going to make do with the axe at the moment right now. We will get a boomerang going into Stage 5 in the very beginning. So you're in cover for right now. The axe will work well enough for this stage. The bosses are somewhat set up to be able to make the axe work. But it's just not going to be as destructive as, you know, having the axe to really mess around. But that's okay. That's okay. We will still make the best of it. The most important thing, though, to pay note is all this awesome Nintendo Mode 7. Woo, yeah! No, this stuff was actually pretty bragged about back in the day. But for whatever reason, I don't know why they, like, put 2 of the biggest, like, Mode 7 rotation, spinning sort of effects, but they were in Stage 4. Like, they put both of them back to back. So there's this segment here. There's, and then there's the barrel segment, which is right after this, the spinning, I call it the spinning barrel, spinning tube, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they decided to put them all, like, in this stage, like, back to back with each other. Why? I don't know. I don't know if it was, like, a weird thing, like, oh, we need to keep the kids, like, in the game, so we'll put them here? I don't know, like, midway through? I don't know if there was some, like, logic to that in that way. I don't know. All I know is it's here. I don't know why. But, yeah, we'll make it work. Well, we'll make it work, of course, because it's not something we have to worry about working with. But the slowdown does suck. It is not fun. Alright, we definitely have enough hearts. We're not going to pick up any more hearts, at least. There might be a... I haven't looked, but there might be a boomerang somewhere in here. It might be, like, tucked away someplace. But I'm not going to waste time trying to find a boomerang just to have a boomerang, so we're going to get one immediately next stage. The downside is we're also going to get a Roman numeral 3 at the beginning of the stage, but before we get the boomerang. So, yeah. Not exactly the best situation to be in, but well, yeah, whatever. Well, we adapt and we move. Like I said, PBs are found in many different ways. So here, if you get bad timing, just wait and then push forward, and you'll be fine. Keep pushing forward here. Don't worry about it. You will break it perfectly fine. There's an axe below that bottom candle if you need it for whatever reason. We don't need it. We have plenty of hearts. So we're just going to keep going here. You can pick up that chicken for some extra health in case you do something silly like I just did. And then we make our way to the boss. Now this guy, watch out for falling blocks. They will get you and they will mess you up. So like, right about where I'm standing right now is the best place to stand for the most part. They will kind of shift a little bit, but you'll get you in a pretty good position. Yeah. And here, we just basically want to keep wailing on him as much as possible. There we go. And those falling blocks can kill you even after you beat him. So, make sure, if you're low on health and he's about to die, do not get hit by those falling blocks even after you killed him, because they can still fall while he's doing that effect. So, be very, very careful if you can. Very careful. So yeah. Alright, so here, unfortunately, we're going to get a... I believe it's... No, there's a 3 somewhere here. It usually spawned on that... There it is. There's the 3. And... there's the cross. It is just... delightful. Delightful. But whatever. You work with it, you adapt your work, and you make it do. Okay. Those little guys can be very frustrating, because you just don't know where they're going to spawn, and they spawn in super random all the time. So, just be prepared to, like, throw a whip out there if you need to. These guys, those little gray ones, are super easy to take out, so don't be afraid to just kind of knock them if you need to. I'm just going to duck here. Like, you don't even need to hit them with a straight whip. Just like, even the dangle whip is good enough for them. Okay. So we made it through that area, which is fine. Here, so we want to just basically plow through these enemies because we're pretty much at the end right here. Don't worry too much about if you take some damage, because you'll get some recovery here in a second. And after this last bat, there isn't any more enemies, so you're good at this point. So just push through, get yourself some items along the way, you know, be in a good situation going in here. So time's going to be as soon as we walk through the door for this segment here. Boop. All right, stage 7. There's some annoyances about stage 7. Let me tell you what. So, it's only a couple, but nonetheless, take your time on it. Don't, rush. There's some instant death areas you can go to here, so just try to avoid it if you can. I throw that boomerang there as opposed to other places just because I want to avoid hitting the light, or the lamps, or fire, whatever you want to call it. That's right in front of the bat, because if you do, you will drop a holy water, and you will most likely land directly on top of where that holy water is, and it's going to be a bad time, because if you have a nice triple cross, it's gonna stink for you, needless to say. Okay, here, take your time. I'm going to emphasize this super heavily, because don't try to jump gaps that you don't know you're going to be able to make, because it will be a bad time for you. Like here, I'm going to wait. I could have possibly made that, but I didn't want to risk it. Especially on this next one here, the last one rather more. I have never been able to personally make it across in one segment, just because I don't feel like there's enough time for me to be comfortable to make it. If I practiced, maybe I could, but it's just not something I feel super good about. So don't push yourself unless you feel like you need to. If I can whip correctly. Now, how do you recover after all this, even though we lost our triples, which kind of stinks? Luckily, we're going to be able to recover very nicely soon. So there's our first area to recover. And, oh, I say, not yet. We're coming up on the first area to recover. I'll show you in a second. So when you get over to here, two things you can get, which is nice. You can get yourself a chicken. If you have the Roman numerals, you can get yourself a chicken from there. If you don't, you'll get a nice 2 to set you up, which will be good. So keep that in mind, in case you need the Roman numerals. You will get yourself a turkey leg right here, if you need it. And then, I believe, and here's the very honest thing, I don't know how the Roman numeral system works as far as how they spawn. I feel like there's gotta be something that I might not know. If you look it up, I'm sure somebody's figured it out, but I bet you it probably has something to do with, like, total number of candles hit or something. Because, like, there's a 3. I've never seen a 3 spawn there before. So, there's gotta be something related to, like, total candles hit or something like that. I don't really know, honestly. I'm going to take that hit, that's fine. I don't really care. So I just want to avoid these spikes. Alright, suggestion, if you have the cross, here, throw a cross there. Oop. I did that a little faster than I wanted to, but that'll help you a little bit if you need to take out those enemies. Because you want to avoid that bounce back into the spikes, particularly, because if you get back into the spikes, then you have nothing to recover yourself on, because you're stuck there. Because there's no way for you to get up to the blocks above you. So, definitely be careful there. Okay. We got our triple, so we're in a good enough space. We have plenty of hearts. We're gonna get some more life at the top of these steps, so just take your time. Don't be afraid to use a sub-weapon or two. This is kind of in general. Like, don't be afraid. Like, I know everybody wants to be tempted to save their sub-weapons for bosses. You're usually going to have plenty of sub-weapon to deal with bosses. Don't worry about that. Worry about you staying alive and having the ability to... just having the ability to get to the bosses, if you know what I mean. That is ultimately the most important thing. Yep. See, I'm taking a little bit of needless health that I don't need to be losing, but whatever. I'm gonna kill all these crypts. Alright, I'm not gonna pick up any more hearts at this point because I know everything else in this point is just hearts. There's no health to my knowledge in any of these spots. We are gonna get some health at the very top of the next segment of stairs. But... Oops. There. Gotcha. Okay. But I'm not going to bother picking up any of these hearts because we're already good for capacity and I want to save a little bit of whip time here as well as a little bit of time with the hearts pumping out at the very end. I am, though, just for fun, getting the 1-up that's in there because it's my good luck 1-up as far as I'm concerned. Try to grab it every time I can. Okay. Ready for this? Cross time. Just throw a whole bunch of crosses and whip and done. Nice and easy. Easy peasy. And... Ooh. 1 minute and 37 seconds off. That's pretty good. I like those numbers. That's a good number. Okay, stage 7. Nothing here to report super interesting. It's a pretty easy stage in my opinion. Just, you know, I think there's a couple pit drops where you want to be careful of, but for the most part, or there's a couple spike sections you want to be careful of, but for the most part, this is just a get your way through the stage. It's a pretty liberal stage as far as it comes with for stuff like health. You'll see what I mean shortly. Like, it gives you a lot of health chunks in this stage, so don't be afraid to be a little daring as far as health. Just avoid pits if you can, obviously. And pick up your hearts too if you can get them along the way here. There's going to be a nice chunk of hearts in here that you can just get without having to worry about other stuff. But you also get plenty of hearts along the way as well too. Okay. So we're good. 25 hearts, that's good enough for right now. I'm fine with that. Alright, so speed tip here. Wait for this guy. Jump. And we'll take a little bit of damage, that's okay. Just keep... Oop. Alright. It's a little more damage than I want to take, but that's fine. We're down here. That's what's important. And we're going to get some more health in a second that you'll see. very shortly-ish. But for right now, just focus on this nice little platforming segment here. Take your time on these jumps here. There's no rush for them. Use your crosses if you have them, or your axe, depending on what you have, just to take out those guys from afar that we don't have to worry about risking hitting them accidentally. Alright, here. Alright, so how I meant, like, this area is very generous with health. So, here's health upgrade number 1 there. That's the first one in this second segment here of areas. So, we still have more to go. So don't be afraid, if you make it to here, don't be afraid to take some hits. Just focus on making good progress forward. How did that not hit him? I believe there is a cross here. So do that, you can eliminate that guy really quickly, just to move up here. So like I said, health. So, hey, guess what? Here's another full turkey to heal you. Like, it's ridiculous. That one segment just gives you a free full turkey. It's silly. So, yeah, health is not too much an issue in this stage. Here, just drop straight down. Make your way down the stairs. You're good to go. Watch out for that arm to grab you. Here, make sure to duck. You don't want to get shoved up into those spikes. It would be very, very sad and disappointing. Wait for these guys to crumble through, and then just work your way up. And then we're pretty much at boss area now. Stupid damage. And there's another health in case you needed one more just for the heck of it. But you're pretty good. As long as you have like half health here with boomerangs, you don't need to worry about anything. You do so much damage here with the boomerangs, it's not even funny. He is set up to be wrecked by them. Look at that. Look at that. Destroyed. Ooh, and a whole minute and 6 seconds off of that time, so that's feeling good. That's some good times. Like I said, it's not something you have to worry about too much, honestly. It's just, stage-wise, pretty good, easy stage to go through. Alright. Whereas, Stage 8. Stage 8 is the bane of my existence. I hate Stage 8. It is the worst stage in this entire game, in my opinion. I will take any other stage over this. I will take the boss rush stage over this. I will take I'll take any stage over this stage. This stage is the most frustrating stage, and to me, this is where like our run can go bad for me if I just start doing silly stuff. So many instant spike deaths, so many pits and other silly things that can knock you back. So, like, take your time on this stage. You're gonna see me not try to rush too much unless I need to rush through, like, a segment specifically. So, I advise you do the same. Take your time. Like I said, spike stuff will kill you. Stuff like raindrops will knock you. Use your boomerangs if you got them to take out distant enemies. It'll just make your life so much easier. Where I'm standing right there is a health if you need it. If you like taking a damage along the way, so it's not instant spike damage, which is its own separate thing. Here, I'm going to take my time. I could make that jump right there. I'm not, just because I want to play it safe. Here, you can jump early and then try to jump over this. I'm just going to jump right on the platform. Here, wait for them to drop, jump up, make sure not to hit the second one as it's coming up, and just make your way through. Here you can do that, make your life a little easier. Oh, I actually took out the third one. That's actually really hard to do. I didn't think you could take out that third, so there's a third little neck guy, skeleton, snaky neck guy that spawns on that other platform. I've never been able to take like him out together with the other one, so that's kind of funny. Throw some boomerangs down here because those little bats can knock you off, and not only will they do the knockoff damage, but you also get knocked in the acid pit, and then you could take more damage at that point. So it's a compound damage that you want to avoid if you can. Alright, here, I'm going to wait for this to here. I'm going to bump here. And that's okay if I take that little bit of damage, but I want to try to get through that spikes just to be safe so I don't lose my health completely at that point, because that would just be bad time. We're good on hearts, so I'm not going to whip anything else. Because we're good on hearts, we have our boomerang, I want to be safe just to make sure I don't accidentally knock anything. There is going to be a health upgrade we can hit if we need it down the road. And, let's say you died accidentally. This one that I just whipped over here that I'm whipping, that is a boomerang. So if you need a boomerang for spare, that's one you can pick up if you need it. In case you die in this segment. So there's an eye. I'm going to take out this eye. Here, don't jump. Just wait till it gets to the top and push forward. Do not hit the candle above you. That is a knife. You will have a bad time if you get that. And make sure to crouch. Crouch and slowly walk your way through here. There's probably a good way you could speedrun this, where you could do it without having to crouch the whole time, but you know, we're not speedrun masters here, we're just speedrunners. We're trying to get through time-wise as best as possible. Here, I hate this segment. I hate it. There you go. Whew. That segment I have died on way too many times trying to do a good speedrun, so if you can avoid doing it, ideally, try to not, try to make sure you don't, you know, die to those spikes, because those disc-screen platforms will just be a bad time for you. That was actually a really good run for that. Like, that's 422, yeah. Like, you can see I buffer 7 minutes for that because I expect I'm going to die there once. So not dying there is a very good check mark in my book, actually. Stage 9? Nothing to report here, actually. It's got a lot of money if you needed points for whatever reason. There is a cross I believe you can get, I'll point it out, that you can get at one point if you lose it or you need to pick it up. It's actually right up over here in this area in a second. You're going to have a lot of throwing skeletons and quick moving stuff. Man, why was he not getting hit by that? So make sure to take your time as you're going through. Don't get whacked by accidental skeleton bones. So the cross is right here, I believe. Yeah, where that heart, that big heart is, that's where the cross would be. You have to do the platforming to get up there, so it's a little tricky, but if you need it, there's a cross for you. Here, make sure, be careful. There's not going to be any enemies that are going to be waiting there for you, so just focus on platforming. If you don't need the hearts, don't try to chance it. You'll see a lot of this stuff here is not hearts, it's just money bags. So don't worry too much about having to whack everything, because you're probably going to get more money than anything else, since this is the... I forget what this is called. This is the, like... armory? It's not the dungeon. There's some name for it. Alright, so be careful there when you're landing. As you can see, there's a skeleton waiting right for you. If you can pull off a mid-air boomerang, you could try that, or just basically creep yourself as much to the edge as possible if you can, to avoid accidentally getting him. That's an ideal scenario to be in there. Okay. We're pretty good on hearts, so I'm not going to worry about anything else. I know there's a health here, so you can grab some health. But I'm not going to grab anything else. And here, we're going to wait for the timing to throw a little bit of there. Boom. So here, swing across. If you can get the second jump, that's even better. Momentum's a little hard to keep going for there. If you need it, there is a 2 up there that drops right by where that like casket is. So if you lost it or you need to recover, that is a 2 there if you need it. So something to keep in mind. Here, you're just going to have to, like, just wail on him, kind of, and deal with the fact you're going to get sucked up by this wind stuff. I've yet to find a way to make it through there without getting hit by that wind. It sucks. Tricky leg there. And other than that, pretty much everything in here is just money bags, this entire scrolling segment. So, unless you need points, don't hit anything. Just avoid it. But be very careful, because it is a vertical scroller. One little fudge up, and there it all goes. Technically... There we go. Technically, I could have hopped and kind of ducked below him, but, like, I've had times where that just... I've had times where just accidentally I nudge into him the wrong way, and then he knocks you back, and then, boop, there goes your progress, and there goes everything out of a simple, small little mistake like that. So I'm just taking my time as a result, just to be safe. Since we're doing pretty good on time-wise, we got the triple boomerang here. I want to keep that triple boomerang, especially into the next 2 stages after this. Definitely there. So as soon as he spawns, you can actually get some quick hits in here if you're like just basically ready to go. And he kind of stays in the same position, so if you kind of don't... You can avoid having to move too much, if you can, by just kind of getting yourself centered. It doesn't move too much. There we go. You can avoid trying to having to move too much there to make life a little bit easier. Use the boomerang here if you can. It does some really good damage on these guys since it hits each one of them. So you get some extra little hits there if you need them in between. Also, that flash. I'm so sorry if I gave anybody epilepsy, because that flash is intense every time it happens. But good times there, a whole minute and 51 seconds down, so that's where I go. I think we are very much, crossing my fingers, knocking on wood, knock, knock, knock. We are very well set to get sub 10 minutes, sub 1 hour, excuse me, sub 10 minutes would be ridiculous. But I think we can pull it off. These 2 stages will definitely be a test to that. There's a lot of instant kills in this stage with these freaking clocks or rotating gears. So really take your time here. Really, please, for the love of God, take your time. Like, you can lose it so easily here. It's not even funny. Avoid that one candle there because on the right, because that is a knife, I believe, if I remember correctly. But everything after here is pretty good to get at this point. This is all hearts if you need it to recover. There. That jump is actually like the tightest one in my opinion to deal with out of all of them in this whole segment. Here, grab on the rope, do a little swingy swing, and get yourself here. Don't mind the slowdown, because the slowdown is just going to be there whether you like it or not. Oh, that slowdown's bad. Okay, we'll do this first area here. Watch out for the Medusa heads as they come around. Remember that these enemies now take more damage, so like the skeletons, so be wary of that. Here, try to get to the edge, and jump. Oof. That jump is tight sometimes. You can just be... Sometimes you'll just have a bad day and just get rocked by it, and it gets stuck in the corner. Not much you can do about it. Here, be careful not to extend yourself too far, because you will get knocked like that, for example. So, and make sure to duck very shortly after you land. If you need to, use a boomerang here, so you can get a little extra space to deal with enemies, for example. Here, drop down as soon as you go back up so you don't get hit. And be careful here coming up. Wait for that one to go, and... there is a boomerang right here in that candle that I just broke if you need a new one, for whatever reason. So, pretty nice. Definitely have the boomerang going into this fight, in this next boss fight if you can. It's very advantageous. These guys, particularly this segment here, be very careful dealing with those guys, just because you can have a bad time with knockback from there. So... just be wary of how you get hit with the knockback there, because you don't want to get knocked off the ring and then fall into the bottomless pit, and then there you go. Ooh, wasted life. There's some health there if you need it as well. And then just kind of scoot yourself over here really quick. Take out this guy. And now you have another vertical scroll segment, but as soon as you get up here, plant yourself over here, because this guy has taken me out way too many times to count. But also be careful of the knockback he gives. Okay. Now that's done. Get yourself whipped again. And swing over to here, and you're golden. Alright. Good time so far. I like it. I like it. So, no, let's screw it up here. Okay. So we want to get him in. Ideally, we want to get him over. No, that's not the most ideal, but we'll make it work. Push yourself into the corner as much as possible, just to be safe, because you don't want him to accidentally knock you back into like one of the other areas here. And try to be wary, just in case. Really, he's just putting himself right there, man. Okay, whew. Yeah, sometimes I've had one time where he's hit me with the fireball, but the way it was angled, it knocked me forward, and then boop, right into the pit. And it was frustrating. Oh, it was so frustrating. It was very just it's a bad time. All right, cool. We have Boomerang triple going into stage B. That is a nice thing to have. So, very much take your time here. If you can avoid it, try to. Oh, yeah, you'll take probably one hit dropping down there. That's okay. It's just what's going to happen, unfortunately. There's some boomerangs here if you want to get down there. Here you can do this trick if you just want to kind of kill him without taking any extra damage. So, thing to keep in mind. Here is a double on this one candle if you need it. Other than that, this is all just hearts to my knowledge. I don't think I've ever seen anything but hearts in here. We're just going to pick up some amount of hearts here. We don't want to get too much slowdown going, really. So we're trying to be selective about the hearts I get. Okay, so we got 20 hearts. That's good enough for me right now, because we'll get some more hearts just progressing up here. But I want to have some fair hearts going to the fight to make sure we're well prepared, because we have 3 boss fights back-to-back in this stage, and a whole bunch of other silliness coming up. Alright. So, time to climb the tower. Be very careful with these steps, because you can sometimes just not get them, and it will be very frustrating if you fall down a pit and you don't get them. But unfortunately, it's just sometimes luck. Okay. Like that one there particularly is very sticky sometimes. Sometimes you do it and it just will not click for you. I don't know why, and I hate it, and it's just frustrating. You can be pointed in the right direction as much as you want to, and it just will not click for you for whatever reason. I don't know why. Okay. Cool, we're good to here. Hop across. Take care of this guy. We're going to grab this heart, and then we're going to do a quick swing here. Try to get some momentum before that spinny wheel comes up and knocks us. Okay. Here, be very careful of the spikes. Do not make contact with spikes. So get yourself over to here, and you're good. Now this area is going to be kind of a little frustrating. Oh, no! Oh, the spike there got me. Oh, ooh, that's... Those platforms, to my knowledge, are somewhat... There's a pattern, but the pattern is random for like what pattern you're going to get, I guess is the best way to describe it. So you just don't know sometimes. You might get a really off pattern that just makes life so much easier for you to climb up there, and sometimes you're just going to get, an inappropriate pattern. We'll leave it at that. A pattern you're not going to like. That was a pattern I was not going to like, unfortunately. But we make it work. Luckily, we have a axe, so we'll make that work a little bit for the fights coming up. Trust me, it's no cross, but we'll make it work. Yeah. Alright. Now let's see if we get a good pattern here. Oh, okay. Ooh. I actually don't think I've ever tried to make that jump like that before, but it worked out. I'll take it. Alright. There is a health we can grab coming up soon, I believe. Right over here, I believe. This is a health. Cool. Alright. Time your jump. Keep pressing forward. And slip right through. Wham bam. Okay. Sluggula... Slogra? I can never know this guy's name. I never know how to say it correctly. Skeleton bird with stabby thing. The name of the game with this is Move and Duck. So keep moving, make sure you duck so you don't get hit accidentally by that exploding thing. And then just keep doing this pattern back and forth for half of his health or so until it knocks the spear out of his hand. Should be, I think, 1 or 2 more. This one? Yeah, that one. Alright, now different pattern now. Now he's going to try to do this little stab thing at you eventually. As soon as he makes contact, jump. That way you can avoid the stab in case he tries to come at you. Because he'll stab anyways. So, okay, you don't know sometimes he's going to stab. You need to be ready, because he'll stab sometimes, like, after waiting a little bit. Sometimes he'll stab as soon as he does, just like that. Okay, that was actually a really good, that's probably one of the best ones I've done so far for that guy. He can just be very frustrated with sometimes with the way he does his attacks. So, considering I didn't have the cross, too, is kind of a nice thing. Alright, this guy, demon bird guy. You could use the axe, but honestly, your whip is just so much more effective on here to deal with him. So just keep whipping him. Just keep pumping into him as much as you can. He's actually, frankly, I think he's a lot easier in the red form because his attack is very, like, standardized the way he does it. Now here comes the frustrating part. After you beat him, you get to go to fight death. However, for whatever reason, they said, hey, you only need 1 healing turkey to fight death. You know, one of the hardest bosses in the game, in my opinion. But whatever, we make the best of it. I don't know if we'll be able to pull this off, we'll see. Alright, I want to get over here as much as possible quickly, and... nope. Unfortunately, that hit is just really tough to miss if you get your timing wrong. Nope. Dang it. Like I said, the axe is not very useful there, really, so we're not at a loss at this point. It's more just a loss of time. Like, I've never used the axe once for that fight. It's just not, like, here maybe you can hit him with the axe a little bit, but it's just not useful compared to using the whip to, like, take out his little things that he spawns. My timing is off a little bit, unfortunately. Because there's a timing that he has to, like, his little scepter things. Ooh, okay. Oh! Oh, dang it! Yeah, like, in my opinion, death is the hardest, but death is way harder, in my opinion, just to deal with than Dracula. If you have the boomerangs, he is destroyed, because you just stand in this left corner and just throw a bunch of him when he does that, like, hurricane spin thing, and you just wreck him hard. We're going to get some free hits in there if we can, and then avoid boomerang, or his scythe, I guess, is a better technical term. He just wants to keep spinning around, he doesn't want to drop. Oh god. Oh! Oh. This is it, chat. Like, seriously, death is the bane of my existence, this fight. I hate it. It's all... I'm trying to rush to deal damage to him, but unfortunately the best way to do it is to focus on timing your hits so that you hit those mini scythes as much as possible. Alright, that's got some good few hits there at least. Push all the way to the left. Oh, no! Ooh! Oh, no! Oh, dang it. If I had thrown the hit, I probably would have gotten him, too. Dang it. Oh, this is frustrating, chat. I'm sorry. This is, like, a really good run so far, and this is a frustrating aspect to it, is these deaths. Oh, but once we get to this, Dracula's actually a lot easier, in my opinion, to do it. Stupid hit back. Alright. Got a few extra hits on him there. Oh, no, I did not get the timing on that. Alright, I'll have to get a few hits in to offset it. What? Oh, God. I'm sorry, chat. This was such a beautiful run up till now, and this is, like, frustrating. This part right here. I'm already over time for this segment as is anyways. Alright, got a few extra hits in there. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. I need to be careful here. Ooh. Oh. I could have gotten close to 50 on this run. Well, you do what you can sometimes, chat, with what you can do. Some good hits at least, but I need to avoid this. Nope, didn't work. Ooh, okay. Got a little more lucky that time, because I was getting kind of close. Alright, so that was a whole 2 minutes and 44 seconds overtime there. I mean, I made up for it in other times at least, but still, that is not the most ideal. But we're going to make our life a little easier here with this little trick. In case you didn't know about this, you can hop into that little area and you will get the boomerang, you will get your whip upgrades, and you will get everything you need basically to take on Dracula and just wreck shop with him. So, well, it's not built in the game, it's not cheating in my book. It just makes life a lot easier if you die, recover there. So. Alright, let's see if we can take out Dracula. Ooh. After that butchering of a death fight, I can only hope that I knock this guy out super easy. Alright. Nope, I'm taking a little more damage than I want to here at least. Take a hit there, but it gives me a Quickie. Alright. Sorry, I focused space here a little bit. Okay. That should get some extra hits there. Alright, that's some good hits there. And then he should go final boss. Okay, cool. 3 minutes, maybe? We'll see how fast I can do this. I think 3 minutes for this segment, hopefully. There we go. Ha! Oh, actually, a 240 maybe. No, because this animation takes a little bit of time, so like 250? 250, I think, for this segment, which will put us in just shy of 58 minutes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll take that to the bank considering how much I butchered that death fight. So I probably could have gotten this sub 55, maybe even. 58:07:86. So if I knocked off the two, so I had estimated 10 minutes for stage B. Had I not just, I said the term butchered, but at this point butcher is the best way to describe it. Had I not butchered that death fight, if I knock off 2 minutes and 44 seconds off that gets me pretty much right, like, well, that get me to 56, 56:07, then minus the 44 seconds, give me to like 55:20. 55:20, and I definitely could have shaved off 20 more seconds, because I definitely could do that in under 10 minutes if I do it right. So I could have gotten below 55 minutes. Dang, that would have been a really cool run. But I'll take 58 minutes, considering that's still below my high estimate of below 1 hour that I was going for. So 58:07, that's not too bad, I'll take it. Room for growth, though. Room for growth in, let's see, knocking out stage B successfully, not screwing up to death. Or rather, we're not losing the cross. If I had the cross, I would have wrecked death at like a quarter health. That's how easy that cross makes death. Where else could I have done better time-wise? Stage 3 I died once, I think. Twice? Once or twice on stage 3. So I could have done a little better there. Otherwise, I think this was actually a really good run. Like, for like, just as far as knocking out personal bests and like area for growth, for large growth, there's a couple of areas for large growth, but like the rest is pretty much just working on like speeding up little things along the way. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with this run, chat. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, at least. Let me know what you thought about in the comments or write in chat as you're watching this. And let us know other games you're interested in me seeing through for Gotta Go Fast. If you have suggestions, let us know. We're always looking for new ideas. Basically, my rule of thumb is if I can learn the game in about a week, I want to have a week to speedrun it. So 2 weeks to do a game, that's something I'd like to try. All right. Well, thank you everyone for stopping by and watching this. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time. All right. Later.
Thanks for watching this episode of Gotta Go Fast. Let us know what you thought about it. Got a game you'd like to see us try or want to share out your own speedruns? Tweet at RetroFizzTV and use the hashtag GottaGoFast. Also, don't forget to follow us on Mixer, YouTube, and Twitter to stay up to date on all the latest info for Gotta Go Fast and RetroFizz.